Yep, invisible too, it's hard to pass. Yeah, that's fine.
We have a forum, you can,
Okay.
recording.
So we'll call the meeting to order. Start with reading the approval of the minutes for our September 8th, 2025 meeting. Any motion to
Make a motion, Eric.
second? All those in favor? On to the finance report.
I'll make a motion to approve the check detail as presented,
I'll second it.
Second, all those in favor?
and I'll make a motion to approve the cash flow statements as presented.
I'll second that also.
All those in favor?
Okay, in your packet, you'll have a letter, Baywa Battery has chosen to terminate their option on battery storage. And then the description is in our notes here, so, it really comes down to the non-jurisdictional wetlands, even though we hired Norbert Quinzer to kind of work through that. They feel it'd be a major risk, so, I am working on some other ideas for that land, and I will send out some information to the board on, what we can do. I'm kind of at hold right now because Chippy is still cleaning up that area once they're done.
Do you think that they were looking for a way out of this or a reason to get out of this? Because
No, because we had always thought that, well, we were gonna get the land to a shovel-ready point.
Yeah,
It's not economic or feasible for us, like financially, to get it ready if we're not having like 70,000
right.
a year
Yeah.
in the contract negotiation. So, developing it for something else, same thing. It depends on how much money we put into it and what's our end use going to be. But we might have some other things. Renee also is aware that the battery storage has been terminated, so, he has some other thoughts for the board, but I'll put it all in writing, email it out to the board.
But the,
I would say, Eric, though, to your, the economics of battery storage
Yeah.
have changed dramatically,
yeah, probably.
across the country,
Yeah.
if you're reading it. So
We also
the,
has a
the,
little bit of
the
that.
federal incentives
Mhm.
have changed, the sort of thing, and the issues with the grids are becoming more, the economics of it, the need is not abated.
Right, because the
But
actual
these grids
wetlands
can't-
there could have been dealt with, and I don't think there were that many, right? And then the proximity of where they
Right.
were is not really any, this was just a
Oh,
mapping.
Right, so this is like 5 acres versus 100 acres that I
Right.
tried out, plus, but they also did mention that the substation, they'd have to invest something to put another bay
Right.
in, so.
Okay, so they were looking for a reason. to get out of this thing, is what it seems like.
I think the economics of it,
If
once.
they wanted to be there, they,
Right.
these other problems could have been solved, but
Mhm.
it's, yeah.
Does that have an implication, you think, for any other properties we're hoping we get battery storage in?
I don't think we have any battery storage people looking
We don't
at
have any
us
battery
right now.
So are you
but
saying,
Well,
I say that it's just gonna kind of,
Keystone,
It could be, and it could be in some of these situations, it could be. I mean,
Renee had been working with Keystone over in Caro, behind that substation, near Family Dollar. That's, we've been talking to them for 8 years.
Yeah.
They've been working on that.
A lot of like solar projects, and a lot of these guys are stringing together packages of stuff, and it's hard to really tell what's really going on there, and a lot of them are just kind of,
you can't get financing.
yeah, there's the financing and the federal support and all that are probably
Right.
going away. I mean,
And
it's
the grid, and getting into
Yeah.
the grid and being
Yeah.
able to actually, to monetize that
Yeah.
part of it.
mean,
I also think the technology has scaled so
Yeah.
that a lot of those entities that are using, like a big manufacturer,
Yeah.
you can now put these things on site. There are
Yes.
ways to kind of
You're
avoid the
correct.
grid and do that. Now, I think that
The industry's
method,
changing. a
the
little bit.
industry
Yeah.
is changing, right?
No, I think you're
Storing
right.
it just for backup
Yeah.
for NIMO or somebody else, it doesn't make sense anymore as much as the big users are.
Because it is a thing, and I
Mm-hmm.
know I follow Tesla's products very closely, and they shipped a lot of them last quarter, so they're going somewhere, I don't
Right.
know where, but they make those, they make the actual battery storage, the big ones, not the little ones. And they shipped a lot of them, so they're going somewhere. But to your point, maybe it's going to more direct users.
Well, and I also think as much as we have climate goals in this state and all sorts of things, when you think about the Midwest and that corridor from the Dakotas right on down, that are generating wind and solar on an almost 24/7, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are we really storing here? Like excess power? We got power shortages.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that that's some of the challenge here in
Yeah,
terms of how you quickly get something.
I think the whole industry is, you're gonna see it change very quickly in the next, cause I was just reading, we talked about the small modular nuclear. And they didn't have a lot of details, but it's 2, maybe 3 army posts. They are gonna power the whole place up with a modular nuclear, like, next year. And be like that, where if you wanna build normally a nuclear power plant, you'd be like, okay, it's gonna take 10 to 20 years to build this thing.
Yeah.
They're literally gonna have it operational like next year, but they're modular like the battery storage. So that's gonna be interesting to see. You probably won't be able to compete with that in power generation some ways if it can hit the market in any kind of effective way. We'll see.
So moving on to number 2, this is Service Simmons. They have requested to end the pilot early, but by early, instead of putting them back on the tax roll in March, they only have 1 year left on their pilot. So,
So this is one of the earlier attempts. So this is, the sort of Simmons thing. They're doing what's called a sale leaseback to try to get some cash flow into their business. So they're selling it to a third party. That's going to close in November, December. Okay, so we're already exempt for this year's roll for 24, 25. So that would cover the 25 school and the 26 town and county. That's the last year of our pilot agreement. So I'm saying, okay, fine. I made the pilot agreement non-terminal for a variety of reasons. But I'm saying if you want to terminate early to effectuate your sale leaseback, you just have to escrow the payment of the pilot payments because I don't want to go at risk for that and not have that. So they've agreed to do that. So I have a resolution that I approved for the group. And is that in the package or is it?
it's in the package as well, but
Yeah.
it's,
So that effectuates allows for the early termination of the sale leaseback agreements with us, this is last year. And subject to then paying an escrow in the January 25 pilot payment.
So why do they want to terminate it? Is it because it's gonna be a change of ownership?
Yeah, and then we would have to consent to it,
Right.
and therefore, for one half of a tax payment, it's, it's not worth it.
all this.
But I just want to make sure we get paid, and
Yeah.
they've agreed to it, so it's pretty straightforward. And also if it helps them, be successful, because they're consolidating some plants, then we should probably try to do that. And remember, this was the original project that jump-started that section of the development out there, and we went right to a straight lease with them. They were the anchor tenant that built out that space.
So they go on the tax rolls next year then?
Correct. For the 26 roll, so it'll be the 26, 27 school, 27 town and county.
So does that mean they're gonna be reassessed then?
No, they've been reassessed, so.
They have-
Yeah, that was another challenge that I handled with that, so
Okay.
that it's all set, whatever it is, it is.
Okay.
So,
And so I just need a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
the resolution is there to sign, but then there's also the deed.
Yeah, I've got them all.
Okay. Okay, Floodline Solar, Paul and I are trying to set up a meeting next week. So we will have an update in November for the board. Still working on the comprehensive plan in Coxsackie. Donna and I met with the town and things. We discussed housing again. It's been on our radar for a few years, and James has shared more of the studies with the town. So as part of the comprehensive plan, zoning is one of the big things, and the village is in the process of adopting pro-housing resolutions. And so we've discussed it with the town of the pros and cons.
You have to flip the page.
So it's just part of the next step. Fred has given some stakeholder names. So we'll keep you updated on the comprehensive plan, but that's moving along. Interviews will be starting soon on that.
Interviews for,
The stakeholders, so EDR was hired as our
Right.
comprehensive plan package, so.
well, so for pro housing, anything else? Like, was there anything on their agenda as it related to zoning for commercial purposes?
That's separate from what we just did.
Just, okay,
So we did a branch out to discuss some housing, because some proposals had come to the town and kind of got shot down, so we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page of needs, wants,
Definitions
desires, definitions are very important.
of what.
You know, workforce housing, what we're looking at, like 2 employees working, need a place to stay, that kind of thing. So we'll keep moving forward on that. As mentioned, master plan, I did get a proposal from Delaware to work on master plan, but I think I'm gonna come up with an RFP and see if somebody else, might want to bid on that. You know, we have 20 years in the pilot, so I don't feel like we have to get the master plan done this year.
Yeah.
If anybody have comments on Athens Gen master plan, I mean, we're working really well with the current owners, and Steve Cole is still a consultant over there. But I will let you know what I come up with for an RFP, request for proposal for the master plan.
Wouldn't this be an opportunity then to vet out?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm doing it.
Okay.
Just moving on to the parks update, still working closely with the hotel to make sure that all of our permits are gonna be in place, hopefully by the end of the year, so that spring comes around, they can just break ground, but I follow up with Delaware weekly. All the application materials followed up, Jamie is reviewing it at DEC right now. So I request that update, and then the SWIP for the hotel is also being reviewed by DEC right now. So those are the 2 things that are,
So DEC has had them for 6 weeks?
yes and no. So, we put our application in, for review back in April. So.
Right, but that didn't.
Now.
The most recent iteration went to DEC when?
I wanna say 2 weeks ago, because the hotel needed to put our application that we filed for connection, it had to come from the hotel. But DEC just told me that 2 weeks ago. So the hotel, well, 4 weeks ago, it took the hotel 2 weeks.
But at our last meeting, we were told that the application went in.
The application was in, and then DEC turned around and said, this should really be coming from the hotel, not from the IBA.
And Delaware said,
Can you please put this on hotel letterhead? So.
so Delaware did not properly advise either party.
Correct.
Document
Mhm.
and go back. I mean, fine, no one's putting a shovel on the ground because it's winter. That's not the point.
I know it's not the point, that's why I asked.
That's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
when did the application, so the application actually did go in until 2 weeks ago.
Correct. The official, final, corrected. And so far Delaware, I mean, DEC has not come back to Delaware or me that they need additional information, because usually that's what happens. We submit everything, Delaware or DEC wants comments, reports, but we've been going back and forth, and I feel I have submitted everything again, corrected.
Yeah. Welcome to New York, right? It's easy to build and.
But I feel like, yeah, everything,
Everyone's helpful.
I know.
is there anything else that we need? before,
I know they
you
would
know,
build 50
spring?
hotels already.
We've had the coming soon sign approved, and I've talked to the highway department, it will be set back from the right of way. And then once the coming soon sign is up, I'll put up the restaurant sign. Keith's, I'll call her his baby, I'm not gonna do any landscaping on that side until construction is underway and we're out of the way. So we're looking at that, both sides in the spring more. We did have Shane Pilato come in and look at the county side for the tourism building, just cleaning up some of it. There's perennials that were left there from Stewart's, but I know Keith wants, you know, nice fencing and boulders, and the highway department does not. So we're gonna try to come to a compromise in the spring of, you know, what both sides look like as the entryway into, you know, our new development. So landscaping will be done in the spring. And then for Kalkberg, I am still working with Mike Cleary. The option has been drafted and Paul just needs to update a couple little things. He's doing his due diligence, the option will just, secure him for 3 months, then if he wants to continue it, he'll pay the 5,000, for the whole 6 months.
I'm sorry, I forget it, what,
Mike Cleary is ICF, the concrete forms, and then he also wants to put a long-term hotel stay in the front. So he's been doing research, comparables with the Spark and the Holiday Inn Express that are up there. This would be a little different than those two. It would be long-term stay with kitchenettes and things like that. I think if there's anything else. I've registered for the planning training in October at Columbia Greene. I have to get in 4 hours, so I'll be doing that some night, and I think it's October 30th.
did I read that Sarah was bringing more jobs?
Yeah, so CERTA is closing, consolidating a couple branches, so Jamestown, which opened at the same time as our facility around that same time, about 75 jobs are coming in.
Nice, where did I live?
Yeah. Or are they coming in, or are they gonna be new hires here probably?
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people relocate.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a job you moved.
That's what I was saying to April
Yeah.
before you got the meeting started,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a
Yeah.
long relocate.
There it is, yeah.
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 Well, could they pick up resident people?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there could be a lot of them.
Yeah.
So they'll be hiring, they're doing some consolidation of different equipment. They've been doing
Basically, whatever they were doing in
upgrades.
Jamestown are gonna do here, and maybe they just do it with the people here too, to some degree, but.
I was surprised in the call that we had that there was the comment, it was James, when he said, well, we don't really have any urgency around the housing. We don't have to move, and that was surprising to me.
That was his perspective. and-
Yeah.
I'm not sure,
Remember, he said, well, there's no rush with respect to getting,
for the pro-housing resolution,
right,
I'm
And-
not sure if that's because we don't have any housing projects on the docket of being built, but James is moving forward, he already sent me a study out,
yeah.
and he
it's
wants
not-
to
yeah.
come to the board, the town board, to explain the definitions, explain what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
And where we would like to locate. It makes sense to locate housing on our 10 acres, so people could just walk to work, and there's the grocery store right there, so it's all within walking distance, so if you can't afford a car. At least
Right.
you have all your amenities nearby.
I just wonder
Might need
if,
sidewalks,
Yeah.
yeah,
might need to make, walkability.
Yeah.
yeah,
But I do see people walking, on 9W.
yeah. No,
Well, then, as we build out, then maybe we can do some more with Greenland Trust with the walking paths behind
Yeah.
the buildings.
just think that, and I don't know how you go about doing this, but just sort of raising awareness that, we might be getting more jobs in here. We got all these things going on. There's gonna be more demand for housing. So yeah, there's urgency around this town. There's urgency around this people.
Doesn't seem like the town board has a sense of the same urgency.
No, they don't.
So I don't know that, trying to get ahead of where they are, think one needs to pull them to whatever that is. A developer is gonna look at. I mean, well, we've talked about this, a developer is gonna look at return on investment.
Yeah.
There's just so much return on investment that you can do, even if
Right.
you get the
Sure.
land. At a really, need to get that town
Yeah,
in a place.
that's everything.
Right.
Yeah,
But given that we've got all these projects coming on, and again, housing is critical, is it, worth it for us to have Hans come into the IDA and talk to us?
We've met with him,
Yeah.
and he's on board with our 10-acre project. So I think there was just concern of, like you said, definitions of what workforce housing is.
I
And
thought we'd agree at the last meeting to stop
They
talking about it
keep
as
going
workforce.
back
yeah,
to,
it's middle class income.
they keep going back to this.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I saw that got him, and I haven't met him before, so I don't know, but the only thing that's got him somewhat interested was that there could be senior housing.
Mhm.
And that, because he said that it was like, he and his peers, they don't have a place to live, so that would be good. But otherwise, it was very this kind of neutral. It was a little,
I'm not sure.
I think when we met with them too, one of the things we drove home was that understand this, that we have to heavily incentivize that project.
Right, but
As far
that
as
we're
I get.
incentivizing the developer,
Right,
it's not benefits going into the
The
to
tenants.
individual tenants, yeah.
right,
so
it's the
we're
project
incentivizing
we're
Right.
benefits.
incentivizing, not
to
the
the
tenant, not right, but
And 80,000 a unit for you put an apartment, 10 units is 800,000,
Yep.
it's just a rough math. I mean, you can get. Well, about 1,500 for a 100, who's gonna sell it for 7?
That's correct.
It's just the pro forma.
That's-
Are you sure?
Yeah, not,
Right.
Yeah.
the funding is
Yeah.
gonna buy the building, period.
Right.
But you know, that's the thing, and I think even at that range, just say for easy, 1,000, just say they're 1,000 a month or whatever they are. The building construction costs and all that are such now that that's really where it all comes in is when it gets all done, doesn't need to be 2,000 a month is the problem, and that's where, well, you know.
Nobody's in to lose money.
Yeah, it has to be looked at as, okay, the total valuation is 800,000 or $1 million. We have to make it such that the taxes are, you know, that's where we can do an offset. And low cost or almost low or no cost on the land lease, and almost no taxes. Then that project might be able to work to keep it at 1,000 and not, you know. I think and that is, you know, to your point, Fred, I think our goal is to get it to just market rate availability, not, we're trying to get inventory here.
yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Not as much so as like it needs to be a $500
No.
plate, they don't exist. But to get more market rate, when we're talking about the words workforce housing, I agree, it's just more housing,
More housing.
period. You could be 50.
Workforce triggers of some sort of.
Yeah, no, you know exactly what to think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And what we need is more units available because somebody, they gotta live somewhere. Even if it's you know, 1,000 a month, which we say is high, these people coming in from Serta, are they gonna commute to this job? And how far can you commute to make it even economically feasible?
Right.
Where there's a house or some apartment 2 minutes away, that's a lot more attractive to be that
What's
close.
what's the average hourly wage at Serta?
I don't know.
I
That's
should find out.
Then the first.
I mean, you should actually find out what all the neighboring, you know, all of those employers, right, in that walkability. You know, the range from the Dunkin' Donuts and the McDonald's up to the servers, and there are different jobs, you know, and the tops and because what we're.
Now bring you home a month and what.
Right, because what you're really talking about is something pegged to the median, you know, the median income, right? And while you could do that by the county, you really, from a regional point of view, but even to the town's point of view, to walk to work,
It's huge.
someone's gotta make investments, because I see, as I said, I see people walking on 9W, that's not smart, that's not, there's a whole lot about that that says that there's a community. It is a community comprehensive plan sort of conversation here.
Good point, because the cost of commuting to work is astronomical. I don't think people really fully realize how big it is sometimes.
Yeah.
And
They realize in
especially
the
on-
pandemic,
Yeah.
that's what they
Yeah,
realize,
good point. And on the lower pay scale, it's even bigger, a percent of your income you're spending on a car to try to get to work.
You
Yeah.
can't go more than 10 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Just-
Yeah.
I used to say my employees work for their car and for
Yep.
their childcare.
Yeah.
And they're working for their car is a big component of it.
I see it every day in our shop.
Yep,
And it's like a vicious cycle. I have to get to work to pay for my car, so I
Right.
can get to work to pay for my car. It's
So
insane.
John sees it with the students.
Yeah.
The car breaks down, they're not at school,
Yeah.
right? And they're like,
Yep.
when I'm off today, they're like,
that's why I just keep harping on this, but this could be really like a showcase development. I mean,
Mhm.
that it's, you
Well,
know.
that was the other thing. James wants to take some town board members to see these other two facilities that
That'd be good.
are being
Yeah.
developed right
Yeah.
now and the look of them, you know, like,
where are they being developed?
I don't know, what did he say? Further south of here, there's one.
I think if we could just talk about it, you know, just pick one. I mean, one that we like,
But the-
and
but
just
the
say,
thing
this is what it would be, could be like.
To me, you're putting the cart before the horse. Where's the developer?
Yeah.
Where's the person who wants? You're not, I mean,
I have to push back a little bit because without the town saying the town saying, hey, developer, come, we like this.
that's not the way it happens. I'm just telling you from a business point of view, And if you're watching what's going across the river with the old school, the old Catholic school, or not, the old elementary school in Hudson,
Mhm.
right? So Penrose, who's a developer, a very big developer, and they've done this, and actually our enterprise has done business with them in a number of places, actually.
Mhm.
They're beyond their planning board, they got the use change, they've been looking at properties. They scale the properties.
Mhm.
They don't wait for towns, and they then can go in and they've got there.
Mhm.
Then they work that end of things. I just think that the town going
It
out.
has to be scaled. I looked at that Wallace property, Dell used to do it, 150,000 for that lot, an 8 unit there, run the numbers, run the water, run the taxes. You had to be between 16 and 1,800 a month for 2 bedrooms to make sense.
Yep. For it to work.
Wow,
That's just with no help, just a guy looking at land trying to do this.
Yep.
Uh,
and that's what.
I wasn't confident that
So,
was.
right, so unless the
for
town
30
is
units.
coming and says, we're giving you the land. The town,
Right.
the incentive has to be so big to pull that number down,
Exactly.
right, to
Yep.
really,
It's basically gonna be almost free land
right,
and almost no
No
taxes,
tax on-
right.
and then it's gonna work, and then
So-
maybe,
There are a couple, just like us, looking at our 10 acres, and Aaron went to the town with a project behind Tops. And
Right, and the town, the people came out, that's what I said, you've got a whole lot where,
It's almost in tandem, you gotta have, because the
So we have
developer's
to
not gonna wanna be here where they're not,
zoning.
you know, wasting
we
time.
don't, we don't necessarily, we are working through the comprehensive plan, but
Mhm.
again. Talking to the town people doesn't make, somebody really has to have these kind of one-off conversations, much like we do with Athens Gen and other businesses. What's on your horizon? What makes this work and what makes this does, and,
Perhaps nothing is more challenging. How long was a housing issue we've talked about here?
Oh, yeah.
So almost
So
4.
what has changed? If there was a pro forma that worked, someone locally or otherwise would have come in and plugged
Right.
into it.
Yep.
Nothing has changed.
Yep.
it's going on in
Well,
Albany, it's going on in places where they can figure out what the
The
man.
buildings at the bottom of Green Street there, that individual bought those 5 buildings at the bottom of Green Street. The real estate building all the way from,
Oh, yeah.
honestly, 8% per year built into the lease, great increase.
And an escalator, really,
Every,
yeah.
every year, 8%,
Okay.
boom, boom,
Yep.
boom.
Are they rented?
Oh, full pack. And they're starting to, they're a premium rate as well. And you're kicking in 8% of
Yeah.
rent.
I mean, I think with
No, I
that,
think that's somewhere else.
that piece of land, we needed, almost like this, like the warehouses, we needed shovel ready. And a package of, for a developer, that the town has accepted it, or will
Right.
accept it. And then here's the, what is it, 0 land price, and then here's the 0, almost nothing taxes, and
That,
beyond
that
that, then
property
it's
that we're talking
financing.
about has water
Yeah.
and sewer, right? It already has water and sewer?
Our parcel?
Yes.
Yep,
It has water and sewer,
and natural gas.
and we're not upside down on that, right?
Oh, we're in the black, in the whole business
Yeah,
park.
we got nothing on that.
We've got nothing on that, and I'm not, when I say the word gifting, like,
Mm.
what are the rules on if we were to,
We'll do a ground lease, I think is what we have to do, and it could be for $1.
Could be $1.
So.
Yeah, the only issue is.
but we don't wanna be in the housing business, we do a ground lease that's it. At some point, they buy it out from us,
I don't know, because if we're piloting it or putting 0 tax, some point in life, probably taxes and everything has to kick in, but it's gotta be way down. the road.
Correct, and then it's just a question, I mean, I think housing is so tricky these days, I mean, I've seen people develop it, but. When does it become oversaturated, when are there too many apartments,
Well, up in all the Albany areas, we know, they've been putting them in like doing them like crazy.
Well, versus the county, the studies that they've done, we need 1,100 units.
Yeah, yeah,
right,
I
and they're all around, I mean, when.
think us putting in 100 units isn't gonna kill the market, I think
Right.
they'll be filled up so fast, I mean, it's one of these things, like even in Catskill, we know the hotel will be a success once it gets there, we know a restaurant there will be a success once it gets there, it's getting the.
Yeah.
And then, so the last component is the financing thing, that if a developer can get the financing or at a lower rate, I mean, rates are gonna come down again, that's good. But is there a scenario, and I'm just throwing this out there, bonding wise, that there's a financing package? Is that
If you-
possible?
If you
Yeah,
make them,
through the, not the IDA, or development court.
yeah, I mean, there are packages, most of these people are doing these packages. Under what they call LIHTC deals, low income housing tax credits, and that's how these are being done, that's what I'm seeing. all of it being done, because,
Not market rate though. Not the market rates are not
I
using.
have to tell you, I think that some of this LIHTC stuff, even though they call it workforce, it's pretty close to market rate in terms of quality, what these people are paying.
Right, 60 to 80% AMI.
Yeah, it's,
So James did bring that up too,
Yeah.
but, so I have to do more research on this pro-housing resolution and what comes with it, but my understanding is that if you do not adopt it, you are less likely, the town, or whoever's developing the town is less likely to get those financing or grants or anything from the
So
state.
the tax credits, that there's a limit on the line
Yeah,
tax credits,
they're a
and
lottery.
each year there's
yeah,
and the big developers know this, right?
Yeah, and
They're
they
in
play
that-
this game that they get ranked, the projects get ranked. And if your project's ranked higher, you have more likelihood of getting the credits,
Mhm.
and therefore you're building. So, I've done a bunch of them in Albany, and you just gotta kind of go along with it,
It's not even your game. The developer knows,
The game, it
and
tells
they
you
know
what
the
to
game,
do,
they
and-
go in,
yeah.
right, that's why I said that what's missing here, the conversation really. The town needs to do what the town needs to do, but somebody's gotta see if there's any meaningful developer. Not, and I'm not dissing anybody
Well,
who's
the only
local,
company in
these are
this
big,
business that's
these are
like
companies who have
guys like
capital
these
behind them.
developers.
Mr. Ken Carney was a
Yeah,
good guy.
yeah.
The Reagan guy, brothers, they're good guys.
You got in the newspaper,
Yeah,
that
it's
the town
reach out
was gonna be
to-
senior, they were afraid it was gonna be low income. Oh, but
Well, then,
behind-
maybe just say, look, we're
And
gonna-
behind
it's-
top.
I don't wanna say it's
You
gonna
know,
be an offer, you
fields
can't
across
refuse.
from our.
Really goddamn.
That would be like forever one.
Oh, no, and they,
You're talking,
And this is the
Yeah.
board, the town board.
You know
Oh,
what,
and
there's a
the
guy, Chris
in the
Betts,
community, that's why I said somebody has to
and
really
Chris
start
is on,
speaking. What are people making on average an hour in these places? I think.
he's on the Albany City IDA, and he used to be with the
You know,
CPC.
you
He
could
knows
be
this, he's like a
time at
consultant,
25
so maybe
bucks
we
an
should,
hour.
I'll send it to
And-
you,
Yeah.
call this guy.
You just-
He's a really good guy.
I think
Put
we
your shop
should
at
get
top,
somebody in.
no,
Grants don't need,
Yeah.
turn on the internet.
Well, we got
Any of
package
the,
here.
like any
And
of
we're
the
gonna make it really-
teachers,
Kind
any,
of aggressive, and how do you?
with the jobs, the county workers, all of these
I
people
mean,
would,
that's the business,
would,
they're gonna be at a certain point, like.
Qualify.
qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically
Yeah,
everybody that
talking
works at
about
Big
the-
Summit,
That
that doesn't commute out of the county.
It is.
Would be-
communication, you're right.
We're still
It's
in
minutes
the
from-
meeting, so
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
have any other motions or anything else,
Sorry,
we're still in the meeting.
oh,
so
okay, yeah, sorry, we got.
If we wanna,
We can wrap it up and then move,
I guess I have one thing, but it's prompted by the DEC.
okay,
I would ask that you work with, and kind of give us a report back. So the governor issued her budget call letter a week ago. And they also tasked the agencies with coming up with a list of outdated or duplicative rules, regulations, and processes. So you with the Economic Development Association and others should be looking and offering up solutions. I mean, we're doing this in our enterprise there are things where agencies require a wet signature. Agencies require a paper check. Agencies require the death by 1,000 questions. People should be, we live this, right? There's a place for rules and regulations, but there's a place for things that are outdated, not modern. The information is there, the comma's in the wrong place, sort of stuff. So I would ask that you start identifying some of these things that sort of impede the ability to transact business.
okay.
just say all of it, pretty much almost all
Oh,
of it.
This back and forth, and then, it wasn't on the right letterhead.
Oh,
There's a whole lot of.
Insane. Yeah.
Process that a lot of
With this
people,
stuff.
private sector and public sector have
Okay,
their hands in, but
Okay.
that should be
Yeah.
I will look. through
on our
that.
agendas.
So I need a motion
So
to,
one other thing, you asked me about charging stations, and
Oh,
how
yeah.
we could get that.
Yeah.
James on his side already has an application in to put some in at the tourism center, so
good, okay,
offer a plate.
yep, that's good.
Now you can make your motions.
Okay, need a motion to adjourn, second motion, all in favor, aye.
Hi.
Oh,
Tell us, April, when you get it.
Mhm.